I want to thank you again for taking time. Thanks for being here. I'm here today just to officially announce my candidacy for State Controller in 2010. I'm excited about the opportunity. Many of you know me. You know my passion in the legislature has been fighting for the taxpayers. I'm proud to have the endorsement of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. I always say the best indication of what you're going to do in the future is look at what you've done in the past. You know, when you look at my record, I was the one who stood up against Gray Davis during the energy crisis in a lawsuit, Strickland v. Davis. I forced Gray Davis to disclose what he spent in his long-term power contracts during the energy crisis. We won in court, and I'm here today to say that's exactly the kind of leadership we need in the Comptroller's office, someone who will treat the tax dollars as their own. To see the contrast in this race that I see developing in 2010, we need to look at what we've done during this budget crisis and how we performed during this budget crisis. I voluntarily took a pay cut before the Citizens Compensation Commission ordered the pay reduction, and my opponent actually took $2 million in new office furniture. He didn't use surplus office furniture, he used new office furniture. In fact, so egregious that the legislature came in and they passed legislation to withdraw that office furniture. I authored the bill to eliminate the Integrated Waste Management Board, and I'm one of 3 state senators that didn't take a state-owned vehicle. And then Jon Chung said he was going to audit every square inch of California government, but it took the media to discover 2 of the state's largest agencies doled out $5.5 million in new vehicles this year, only to let them sit idle while collecting dust for months. That's Jon Chung's job. Jon Chung did not lead when it came to auditing every square inch of state government, as he said 4 years ago. He's been tone deaf. You know, during the 2008 budget impasse, Chung failed to cut state employees when directed and ordered to do so by the governor. Jon Chung cared more about his SEIU union support other than reform in state government. And so I've just announced I'm going to have a long campaign to talk about our differences, but those who know me know I deeply care about the taxpayers of California. I want to root out all waste, fraud, and abuse in the system. I'm excited about the opportunity in 2010. It'll be a rematch of the 2006 campaign, and I'm looking forward to working with you as we go forward in November. You know, I'm often asked, what's it like being back in the legislature? Those who know me, I served 6 years in the state assembly, and I'm just back in the legislature. And I say the best way I could describe what's going on in Sacramento, it's like the movie by Bill Murray, Groundhog Day. We're living the same day over and over again. And Albert Einstein's old quote was, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We need new leadership in the Comptroller's office to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. I'm looking forward to this.
So when I stand behind him, you can't see me. He's so big. No, look, this falls into the category of no-brainer for us. Tony's been an ally on so many issues, and we did another thing just last week on health care, and a true taxpayer champion. And this was an endorsement that our Political Action Committee Board of Directors took about 4 nanoseconds to approve. So we really look forward to working with Tony when he's elected controller. It is a very important office. You know, the controller sits ex officio on a number of boards and really is the person writing the check. And the one thing that the controller can do that has not been done under the leadership of the opposing party is using the office of controller as another audit check, as another oversight check, and that is so critically important. You know, there are oversight bodies right now, the Little Hoover Commission, you know, JLAC, Joint Legislative Audit Committee, and the state auditor. All of those are trying to do some things, but the guy who writes the checks is going to wield enormous power, not only to do financial audits, but to do performance audits. And that, in conjunction with the things that Meg Whitman wants to do in terms of implementing California Performance Review, that's just a wonderful mix on the expenditure side for taxpayers. So, Tony, you have our endorsement.
Thanks, John.
Congratulations.
Last report, readers, in this case, I guess you'd be our watchers. You just saw some great video footage of conservative State Senator Tony Strickland announcing his candidacy for State Controller. You also saw Jon Coupal, president of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, weigh in. I think he said it took 4 nanoseconds for HJTA's PAC board to say.
Tony said, "Why 4?"
Exactly. And so now we're here with the guest of the hour. So a question that I have for you to kind of start off. This didn't really get talked about in your press announcement, but tell us about Meg Whitman's role in encouraging you to run.
Well, you know, Meg Whitman called and said in order to get the reforms done that she needs a good, strong CFO to the state. She saw what happened with Governor Schwarzenegger, where the current state controller stand in the way of every reform in terms of cutting waste in government, and she encouraged me to get involved and run for this office. It's something that I prayed about, something I talked to my wife and my supporters. They said that
was going to be one of our questions, because of course our readers are also familiar with Audra Strickland.
If I didn't get the green light from Audra, I wouldn't be running. If you don't have support from your family, you can't take on this kind of endeavor. And so when she gave me the green light, I was very excited, because I do think that my skill set fits this office, and I deeply care about the taxpayers of California, those hardworking California families, and we need someone who's active that will make a difference.
Hey John, if you were to offer maybe a little critique of the current controller, John Chang, and kind of the job you guys think he's been doing, how would you?
Well, it's less about the job he's doing than the job he's not doing. The power of controller has a lot of authority to do not only financial audits, but performance audits. And we know from everything from the California Performance Review to JLAC hearings and the stuff just reported in the media every day, the waste, fraud, and abuse. Where is John Chung on those issues? It's really important, as Tony says, to have a very strong CFO. That is the position of that office, and we look forward to having someone in there who will use all the constitutional powers of that office to advance rational fiscal policy going forward.
I'll tell you, the first thing I'm going to do after I get sworn in as state controller is I'm going to audit the Los Angeles Unified School District. Here's a classic example of an overbloated bureaucracy where the superintendent of schools didn't want to meet with every employee.
By the way, that's not a good way to get support from the school employee union.
Well, they've never supported me in any.
Sorry, actually, we've actually written a lot on our website about all of the union support. Chang is like an aggregator. If you actually needed to know a list of all of the unions in California, instead of having to look them up in the phone book, you could just look at Chang's endorsement list, and I'll just step up
but this is a classic where those dollars are not being spent in the classroom for the kids. And dollars that are wasted at LA Unified don't go to Fresno, don't go to Eureka, don't go to Auburn,
don't go to LA either.
Yeah, and they don't go in the
they're
classroom.
Wasted there.
And they don't go in the classroom for the kids.
So this is a very important question. If the folks that are watching this interview want to get involved with your campaign, how do they do that?
We just announced, John, so we're building, our website's under construction, but it'll be TonyStrickland.com.
Okay, so what we'll say, if you're watching this interview and you go to TonyStrickland.com and it's not ready to receive you, then just click on the Send John an Email button in the top right corner of the website and send me an email, and then I'll forward it along to Tony's personal email address, and he'll get so tired of that quickly. The website will go up quickly. John, why don't you give us some closing thoughts about Jarvis's endorsement of Tony?
Well, again, this was very easy for us. Tony's been there been sponsors of many of our items of legislation. He's always been there drawing a hard line on behalf of taxpayers. In this business you reward the people who have been there for you, and Tony's always been there for us. So again, it's a very easy decision for us.
Perfect. And Tony, if you'd look right into the camera and tell our watchers what is the #1 big difference between you and John Chang?
I'll actually do something in the job and make a difference instead of just being another bureaucrat that just doesn't do much to affect change in California.
Perfect. Thank you very much for watching another interview on FlashReport.org.